That's what works at News Channel 5.
This is the CBS Morning News for Wednesday, February 13th. Good morning, I'm Jacqueline Adams.
And I'm Charles Osgood. And here are the headlines. CBS News has learned that the United States will give Israel the secret identification codes that Israeli jets would need to join the war against Iraq. In Baghdad, the first indication that Saddam Hussein may be softening his stand. And reports from the Iraqi capital say 400 people may have died when Allied missiles hit an underground air raid shelter.
When and if the ground war finally begins in Kuwait, it may also introduce a significant new element in the air campaign: warplanes bearing the Blue Star of David. State Department correspondent Bill Plant explains.
CBS News has been told that the U.S. government has agreed to give Israel the electronic identification codes its Air Force will need to safely attack Scud missile sites in western Iraq, with the understanding that there won't be any Israeli attacks until the U.S. and its coalition allies begin the ground war. When Israeli Defense Minister Aarons saw U.S. officials on Monday, he argued vehemently that his government couldn't hold out much longer against domestic political pressure to retaliate. But he told reporters he needed U.S. help to do it.
Our contribution could be significant if arrangements could be made for that contribution to become effective. We have a pretty good Air Force.
The U.S. has praised Israel's restraint since the Scud attacks began and has told it that U.S. aircraft will do the job. But Washington also withheld the electronic codes which allow Allied aircraft to identify each other as friend rather than foe. Without these, the Israelis would risk being shot down by Allied jets in the same area. The Israelis have argued that they can do a better job. They're willing to fly lower and say they have better intelligence. And as the attacks continued, political pressure from the Israeli public has mounted. U.S. officials deny that Israel has already been given the codes, and they are very concerned about the potential for widening the war if Israel flies over Jordan or Syria on its way to western Iraq. But Israel seems determined to retaliate in any case. Bill Plant, CBS News, the State Department.
Saddam Hussein is dropping a hint that he might be interested in a diplomatic solution to the conflict. But the White House says it's too early to make any judgment on his intentions. Betsy Aaron reports from Amman.
The bombing of Iraq has not softened Saddam Hussein's will to win. But Saddam has told Soviet envoy Yevgeny Primakov that he is prepared to extend cooperation in an effort to end the war. Primakov, touring Baghdad before his Saddam meeting, described the destruction he'd seen as tremendous and terrible. According to Radio Baghdad, Soviet attempts to mediate between their old ally, Iraq, and their new allies in the coalition were met with stonewalling and lecturing from Saddam. Nowhere in the reports of the meeting were the words Kuwait and withdrawal mentioned, although the Soviets have stood firm on the demand that Iraq get out of Kuwait.
It seems that the Soviet Union is prepared to give Iraq guarantees that were it to withdraw, it would protect Iraq from punitive strikes from the coalition. In other words, to supply Iraq with guarantees.
The Soviet Union is expressing increasing discomfort with the heavy bombing and increasing discomfort over Iran's high-profile role as mediator in this crisis.
Looking to the future, the Soviets are increasingly worried that if they are not successful in keeping their avenues to the Arabs open, they will be frozen out of a reconstituted Middle East. Betsy Aaron, CBS News, Amman.
Over the last 24 hours, Allied forces have been pounding targets in Iraq and Kuwait with one of the heaviest air, land, and sea barrages of the war. Juan Vasquez is in Dhahran with the latest. Good morning, Juan.
Good morning, Jackie. There may be rumors of peace emanating from other places, but in Saudi Arabia, the war continues at a relentless pace. In one of the latest operations, American forces pounded the Iraqis in Kuwait in a combined maneuver with the Saudi Arabians. The Navy trained its huge 16-inch guns on the Iraqi positions and fired away from the battleship Missouri, while Allied warplanes hammered the same targets from the air. They were joined by U.S. Marine and Saudi artillery and rockets pounding the Iraqis from the west in a live fire rehearsal of the joint command and control system that the Allies will use increasingly as they push into Kuwait.
It was a combined air, navy, and ground operation.
The war over Iraq and Kuwait, now nearly a month old, has enabled pilots to develop and improve combat tactics. Allied sources said F-16 fighter bombers are being used as spotters, flying high over the battlefield while other warplanes destroy enemy targets. The bombers are carving up the Iraqi forces inside so-called killing boxes in a tactic designed to destroy military targets inside a rectangle several miles square. Their work is hampered by smoke from some 50 oil fires over Kuwait, but the Allies say it won't stop them. As we've been reporting every day, a few more Iraqi soldiers walked across the border to surrender. The number of POWs now stands at well over 1,000, but most of them are from frontline troops, not from the best units. U.S. military commanders say Saddam Hussein's army is still far from collapse. Jackie?
Thank you. Juan Vasquez in Tehran. Charlie?
Witnesses in Baghdad say an underground shelter was hit this morning by at least 2 Allied missiles. Iraqi civil defense workers claim some 400 civilians were killed. Western reporters taken to the scene by Iraqi officials counted more than 40 charred bodies. The rising number of civilian casualties in the war is an issue Baghdad has sought to exploit, as Randall Pinkston reports from the White House.
The Allied air war is increasingly becoming a war of words between President Bush and Iraq's Saddam Hussein, after repeated allegations by the Iraqi leader that Allied bombs are inflicting heavy casualties on Iraqi civilians.
I think there's a conscientious effort on his part to try to raise the propaganda value of accusing us of indiscriminate bombing of civilians, and it's simply not true.
Meeting with both French Defense Minister Pierre Joxe and his British counterpart Thomas King, Mr. Bush took note of what Iraq does not allow Western news cameras to see, accusing Saddam Hussein of trying to divert attention from his actions.
And what's overlooked is a lot of the brutality that's so evident and so purposeful on his part. The treatment of the prisoners, the Scud missile attacks have no military value. The environmental terrorism, it's not taken human life yet, but it's pretty bad.
We didn't see many television pictures of the casualties in Kuwait, did we?
The British Defense Minister agreed with the U.S. claim of an Iraqi propaganda war, and he agreed with the President's decision to stick with the war in the air for a while longer.
We want to see a tilt in the balance of military advantage, so that when our forces embark, the Allied coalition forces embark on that land campaign, that the balance of advantage is with them. That will help us to minimize the casualties on our own side.
The British Defense Minister expressed great confidence in the U.S. military commanders who will advise Mr. Bush on when a ground war should begin. King said a whole range of issues must be taken into account before Mr. Bush reaches that important judgment. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, the White House.
The CBS Morning News continues. Still ahead, business and weather.
And in sports, Rock wrote on the Phoenix sunset for the Laker winning streak.
The governor officially presents his tax plans to the state legislature. Tonight at 6, we'll have the most comprehensive coverage of the proposal, and we'll hear from state representatives and you, the people, as well.
Can military personnel in the Gulf get tax breaks? Tonight at 6:30, how Uncle Sam is helping GIs. And, of course, the latest on the Gulf War. This is a Channel 5 Black History Salute.
He was a humanitarian, dedicated physician, and to those who knew him, a heart surgeon with a heart. Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. was the first black cardiovascular surgeon to practice in Nashville. In 1972, he headed the surgical team that performed Meharry's first open-heart surgery, and in 1982, a Nashville street was renamed in his honor. Channel 5 salutes Dr. D.B. Todd Jr.
Some people think that being a big buddy would take too much of their time. But when you're with your little buddy, watch how time flies. So, buddy up! Some people think that being a big buddy will gobble up their money. But really, having a little buddy is surprisingly cheap. So, buddy up!
What is Positively Nashville? I'll tell you, it's a look at our very best. The best of ourselves, our community, and the things that make us feel good. About who we are, what we're doing, and where we're going. Positively Nashville isn't about any one thing or any one person. It's a look at the many things and the many people that make up our city. And besides, it's a reminder that not all news is bad news.
Positively Nashville, Thursday at 10 p.m. on News Channel 5. More news, more experience, more often.
Movie fans turn their attention to Hollywood this morning and this year's Oscar nominations. Based on earlier awards, the favorites for Best Movie nominations include Dances with Wolves and the gangster film Goodfellas. Best Actor nominations are expected to include Kevin Costner for Dances with Wolves and Al Pacino for Godfather 3. The favorites for Best Actress include Angelica Houston and Joanne Woodward, and we'll have more on the Oscars coming up on CBS this morning. Former TV evangelist Jim Bakker remains convicted this morning of 24 federal crimes, but he could soon be free on bond now that an appeals court has thrown out his lengthy prison sentence. Bruce Hall reports on the ruling and the reaction.
From his prison cell, defrocked television evangelist Jim Bakker called it a miracle. He was responding to a federal appeals court throwing out the 45-year prison term, saying the trial judge may have been prejudiced by Bakker's religious stands.
I had hoped for a total and complete victory for Jim Bakker, but we are delighted that we get this heavy, heavy sentence reduced.
His attorneys are now working to get Bakker out of this Minnesota prison. First, they'll try to get him out on bail, and if that fails, then he'll ask that his sentence be reduced to the time he has already spent in prison.
Everyone seems very optimistic that he will be coming home, and so I pray that that's true.
Bakker's tearful wife, known for her shopping sprees and heavy makeup, says she wants her husband home.
I believe if we are able to get my husband home and out of prison, I believe that he will be exonerated.
This was the trial of Jim and Tammy Bakker, TV evangelists, and their crime was preaching in an unpopular way.
But other evangelists say Bakker's dream of luring millions of followers to his PTL Christian retreat collapsed under the pathological lies of a paranoid, spoiled child living in a fairy tale world. However, Bakker says if he is freed, he can rise again from the ashes. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Atlanta.
Transportation Secretary Samuel Skinner has fired the latest salvo in the airfare wars. Skinner says he will not approve the British Airways plan to slash transatlantic fares because he says Britain has been dragging its feet on giving U.S. airlines landing rights in London. And Northwest Airlines has upped the ante in the latest round of price cutting. Northwest is matching half-price fares to Britain and extending the deep discounts to other European destinations as well. Taking a look at the financial markets this morning, London stock prices opened a bit lower. The Tokyo stock market closed with its seventh straight gain this morning. The Nikkei index rising 204 points. That's up almost 1%. A bout of profit-taking hit Wall Street yesterday. The Dow Industrial Average opens this morning at 2874 after falling 27 points yesterday. The dollar is stronger this morning against the Japanese yen and the major European currencies. And the price of gold this morning in London is down 95 cents at $367.05 per ounce.
And turning to our weather map, most of the country is waking up to a gray, overcast morning. The weather satellite shows the only clear skies are along the western Gulf Coast and in the southwest. Later today, a major storm will start to intensify over the Midwest. It's going to mean rain for the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, while snow will begin to move into the northeast. Snow is also likely to develop across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Tonight, those areas will have gusty winds and drifting snow. The southwest will remain dry, while the northwest will get more rain. And that's the national forecast. Now, here's a look at your weather. New York, cloudy and 37. Chicago, afternoon snow and 36. Miami, partly cloudy but a pleasant 77. Dallas, cloudy. Denver, partly cloudy. Los Angeles, sunny and 74. The projected storm in the east is likely to become a raging blizzard tomorrow for all of Michigan and the surrounding areas. Be prepared. Charlie?
In sports, we have a team of spoilers in the news. Here's Rock Rose. Good morning, Rock.
Morning, Charlie. Jackie called them the NBA Streak Busters. The Phoenix Suns ended 11-game winning streaks by both Portland and Detroit earlier this season. Last night, they took on the Lakers in their 16-game win streak. Kevin Johnson's baseline shocker put the Suns up 95-93. The Suns, then after the Lakers tied it up, Tommy Chambers, the Suns put them up for good. 28 seconds to play. The Lakers missed 2 shots to tie it as the Suns ended another winning streak. At Portland, the Blazers trailed the 76ers by 12 until a 15-0 run put Portland on top. Charles Barkley showed off Philadelphia's frustration as he threw Mark Bryant to the floor. Now, the Boston Celtics' Kevin McHale twisted his ankle late in the third quarter at Seattle and did not return to play. Boston went on to win without him as Reggie Lewis put the Celtics up for good with 3.5 minutes to play. Elsewhere, the Kings got past the Clippers. The Warriors dropped the T-Wolves. The Jazz stopped the Rockets. It was the Spurs over the Bullets. The Bulls downed the Hawks. The Magic dropped the Nuggets. The Cavs beat the Heat. The Hornets stung the Mavericks. And the Knicks nipped the Pacers. In college basketball, matters continue to progress better on the court than off at Syracuse, despite published reports that the NCAA has opened an investigation on the program. Syracuse was an easy winner over Providence to take a 1-game lead in the Big East. For last night, the last Big 8 team to beat Missouri at home was Kansas 3 years ago. The Jayhawks did it again last night and lead the conference by 2 games. Seton Hall beat number 22 Pittsburgh, and number 24 Texas got past Rice. Donald Trump announced that the heavyweight championship fight between Evander Holyfield and George Foreman would indeed take place in Atlantic City on April the 19th. Holyfield is still guaranteed $20 million for the fight. Foreman will eat up $12 million. And Whisper win on a carousel. A standard poodle took best in the show at the 115th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. Carousel is the first standard to take top prize since 1973. Top dog at the show. I'm rocking that sports this morning. Charlie?
Oh, they don't really call it that, I'm sure. Here. Whisper win.
Yeah, actually, it's Peter.
That's your real name?
Peter. Yeah.
I was rooting for the Springers. Still ahead on CBS, with the CBS Morning News, soldiers prepare to invade their own homeland. Kuwaitis train to fight in Operation Desert Storm.
Thanks for Women Only, you've changed my life. Thanks for Women Only, you changed my life. Thanks for Women Only, you've 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 changed my life. Thanks for Women Only, you changed my life. Thanks for Women Only, you've changed my life.
Hey, we're having a party. Come on in and join us today and get in on our open house race.
It's been a long time since I was in a classroom like this, and I must say things have changed. This doesn't make it easy for parents like me when it comes to helping with homework. But now there's a place our kids can turn when we don't have the answers. It's the Homework Hotline, a number they can call to get help from a qualified teacher. The number is 298-6636. The line is open after school from 5 until 8, Monday through Thursday. So the next time you can't help with homework, have your child call someone who can. The Homework Hotline, 298-6636.
On the next Golden Girls, the beat goes on.
They say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out until we grow.
Oh, for goodness sakes, why you two could be celebrity lookalikes.
Oh, babe. I got you, babe.
So which one's Cheech and which one's Chong?
On the next Golden Girls.
Today at 5. If you can't watch our news team work, you can always listen to them. News Channel 5, 6, and 6:30 reports are simulcast every weeknight on 14 different radio stations throughout Middle Tennessee. News Channel 5 simulcast. It's one more way our team works for you. News Channel 5. More news, more experience, more often.
On the CBS Morning News, here's a look at today's weather. Rain will develop in the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. Snow is expected along the northern plains and central Great Lakes. The southwest will stay dry and warm, while more rain is likely in the northwest.
Here are the latest headlines. CBS News has learned that Washington is going to give Israel the so-called friend or foe codes, allowing Israeli jets to join the war against Iraq. And eyewitnesses in Baghdad say some 400 Iraqis were killed this morning when at least 2 Allied missiles destroyed an air raid shelter.
While American, British, and French ground troops will likely bear the burden of freeing Kuwait, some troops heading north across the border will be going home. James Hattori reports from Saudi Arabia.
In the war over its homeland, the 30,000-man Kuwaiti army is still rising to the challenge. 2,500 Kuwaitis have graduated from this training camp since the August invasion.
I want to get my country back. Then I will do anything to bring back my country back.
These are the volunteers. Of the 2 million who fled Kuwait, most chose not to join the battle.
I wish they'll come here and go with us to Kuwait.
Among those who did not hesitate to fight, the small Kuwaiti Air Force. Mirage fighters and A-4 bombers have flown more than 300 sorties. Kuwaiti pilots see their homeland daily through the crosshairs of a target rangefinder.
They feel sad about it, because you're going to bomb your own country. But things you have to do to bring your own country back.
As long as you know you're killing them, it feels good. It doesn't feel bad.
Even as they train and fight, the Kuwaitis are planning for a triumphant return. The government in exile has already signed contracts totaling hundreds of millions of dollars for emergency services in post-war Kuwait.
It will take us up to 90 days for the emergency program. And for the recovery, it might take from 2 to 5 years.
For now, there is no rush to turn plans into reality during a war in which the Kuwaitis find themselves with everything on the line, yet with little real control of their fate. James Hattori, CBS News, Saudi Arabia.
A thought for today. Seems to me there's been a persistent but perceptibly pernicious polysyllabalization of the Gulf War discourse, which is causing unintended but substantial collateral damage to the English language. Military statements used to be short and sweet. Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes. Don't give up the ship. Douglas MacArthur's I shall return, or General McAuliffe's famous one-word reply when the Germans demanded the surrender of the 101st Airborne Division at Bastogne. Nuts, he said, just that, nuts. Now, though, in the euphemism-rich environment of the Persian Gulf United Nations Security Council resolution implementation enforcement operations, there appears to be an effort on the part of coalition officials and spokespersons to fly as many polysyllabic verbal sorties as possible, thus suppressing potential criticism by neutralizing any affronts to assorted social and political sensibilities in that region, but simultaneously attriting comprehension, if you get my drift. The English language will survive, no doubt, and live to fight another day, but it's been taking quite a pounding.
Do you know what open-end mutual funds are?
The Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Money and Markets tells you in clear, simple English.
Do you know how to spot trends in stocks?
And what stock options are?
And zero coupon bonds?
And the difference between Treasury bills and Treasury notes?
Everything you want to know about the sometimes baffling world of money and investing is in this remarkable 120-page book. And now it's yours free when you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Call now and you can have 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and this valuable 120-page Guide to Understanding Money and Markets. That's 13 weeks of the Journal for the news and ideas you need every business day. And this guide free, which tells you everything you want to know about money and markets, all for only $37, a 24% savings off the newsstand price. Call now, toll-free 800-824-1300. That's 800-824-1300 for today's Wall Street Journal.
Before Julia Roberts, before Madonna, there was Sophia, one of Europe's most popular sex goddesses. Sophia Loren is about to receive Hollywood's highest salute, an honorary Academy Award. And now, Entertainment Tonight brings you the exclusive inside story on one of the most alluring, enduring, exotic sex symbols ever.
My aim was not at all to become a sex symbol.
Sophia Loren, the exclusive inside stories on Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight at 10:30 on Channel 5. Ask today's champions the key to their success: teamwork. At News Channel 5, we know what it takes to make a team work. Respect for the folks around you, pitching in on the tough jobs, understanding the big picture, but taking time for important details. Pride and the dedication to do your very best, today and each new day. Teamwork, that's what works at News Channel 5.
The Soviet Union's Baltic republics, Latvia and Estonia, are taking another step away from Moscow. They've both announced plebiscites on independence for March 3rd. Last weekend's pro-independence initiative in Lithuania was approved by more than 90% of the voters. The Kremlin plans to hold its own national referendum on March 17th to keep the Soviet Union intact.
For American GIs, the dread of combat is softened by the hope of the peace to come. But those who've gone before them into battle have a warning. Life after war never really gets quite back to normal. John Blackstone has our report.
For those far from home, the promise of a quick end to the war breeds hope that life will soon again be exactly as it was. But soldiers who have lived through battle know life will never be the same.
The terror that's going to strike them, they're never going to forget it.
Even at age 93, Winston Roche has never believed in living in the past. He shows off the sports car he still drives with as much pride as he shows for his medals from World War I.
This is the American Purple Heart.
More than 70 years after his war ended, Roche carries memories so sharp the battles might have been fought yesterday.
You can hear the shells coming through the air, the whistling, and then there's a split second of silence, and then crump.
A few veterans are disabled by their memories. Most just live with them.
I've dealt with veterans of 6 wars, from the Spanish-American War right on through Vietnam, and it's always the same. I've dealt with lots of World War II vets who still are running from German tanks, who are seeing the faces of the people they killed in the South Pacific. I mean, it is just endless.
Bill Shaw fought some of World War II's bloody battles in the Pacific.
I faced an enemy who believed if they died in battle, they'd go to heaven. And I knew goddamn well I wouldn't.
He can't forget it was his job to kill.
I was good at it. It says so on my discharge. Got promoted, got medals. I say killing is easy, living with it isn't.
Shaw now lives in a veteran's home in Yountville, California, still remorseful about things he did almost 50 years ago. While Winston Roche is as proud and patriotic now as he was when he went to war at 17. But both look at those facing battle today and know what others won't remember.
It'll soon be forgotten. In 4 or 5 years, you'll be just another man on the street.
What veterans have learned is that their memories will remain vivid and disturbing when the war is just faded history for others. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
And that's the CBS Morning News for Wednesday, February the 13th. I'm Jacqueline Adams.
And I'm Charles Osgood. Stay tuned at the top of the hour for CBS This Morning with Harry Smith in Saudi Arabia and Paul Azan here in New York.
They thought the good times would never end. They were wrong.
Will I be one of those homeless people?
Watch 48 Hours tonight.
I'm Paul Azan.
I'm Harry Smith in Saudi Arabia. Coming up, we'll meet the general who supplies the demands of the troops.
Plus the Oscar nominations coming up on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS. Newhart, tonight at 11:30 on Channel 5.
Hi, I'm Holly Dunn. This year, the home show has more to see than ever before. If you're buying, building, remodeling, or just looking for that special idea, you've got to come to the 1991 home show. We'll have over